Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Lila Web Dev. Today in this video we will dive into a super cool topic that is nothing but message channels in the JavaScript. So what is this message channels in the JavaScript? Let's try to explore about this one. So now what I wanted to tell you is whether you are working with an main thread or the worker thread. So this message channel is a powerful tool to pass data back and forth. By the end of this video, you will understand what message channels are and how they work and how to use them to connect between the two threads or any two threads. So we will be able to have a clear understanding about this one. So let's jump right in. So what are these message channels? So let's start with the basics. So what are these message channels? Message channels is a way to set up communication between the two threads in the Node.js or in JavaScript. So if you will be having a message channel like this. So it will try to set up the communication between the two threads. So if you're having two threads like this, so it will try to set up a communication between these two. These threads could be the main thread. So this can be of main thread and this one can be a worker thread, or this one can be a worker thread and this one also can be a worker thread. So anything. So which can handle tasks in the background. So when you create a message channel, you will be getting two ports. So when you create a message channel, so message channel, when you create it, so you will be getting two ports. So that is nothing but one is port 1 and another one is port 2. Okay, so these two ports only will be you will be getting when you create a message channel. So you will not get any port 0, port 3, something like that. You will get only two ports. That is nothing but with the name port 1 and also the port 2. Think of this port as an endpoints of a communication line. So here you will be having something like message channel, and here like this you will be having, and this one will be port 1 and this one will be port 2. Okay, so think of something like a communication line between these two. So whenever you create a message channel, you will be getting the port 1 and also port 2. So this is one thing. Okay, so you can send data from one port and other port receives it. Now here if you want to send the data from port 1, you can send the data and the another port receives it. And the same thing, the port 2 can send the data and the port 1 receives it. So it's like passing nodes between the two people. So now to make this work, we will be using two key functions. So two key functions we will be using in order to send the data using the message channel. One is post message. Okay, so one is post message here. So one is post message, so which will be sending the data from one port to another, and another one is on message. So this one is something like we will be listening to the message. So whenever the user sends the message, so we can listen to that message using the on message. So this listens for data arriving at a port. So the cool thing, right? The data you send. So now what happens is the thing, the data, whatever the data you are trying to send it to the port to, here the data will be cloned. So using the structured clone algorithm. So using something called as an structured cloning, which I have mentioned you in our previous video. This means that the data whichever you are sending is copied, not shared, so that both threads have their own version. This keeps things safe and prevents the conflicts. So that is the thing. So let's see in action with some code how the message channel works. First of all, we need to create a message channel. In Node.js, we use the worker threads module. So let's see how it will work. So let's go to here. So in this one, so what I will try to do is I will this is one way of sending. Okay, so I will comment out this entire code. Let's try to comment out Control Z. Okay, so this is the code, and here I can write in such a way that example 1 sending data with worker data. So this is the concept. Now let's try to see the example 2. Example 2 sending data using message channel. So this is the another example. So in order to send the data, what we need to do, we need to create the message channel. Constant message channel is equal to new message channel. So that's it. So when you create this message channel, automatically you will be able to get an object. Let's try to see the console.log of message channel. So what could be the data you will be able to get. So now if you try to see this one, I will go to our command prompt. Here I will do node app.js file. Here you will be able to see the port 2, which is of type message port, and also you are able to see a port 1 which is of type message port. So here you will be able to see an object. Message channel is sending an object which is having two properties, port 1 and port 2. So we don't have any other properties like port 0, port 3 or something like that. We have only two properties, port 1 and port 2. Okay, let's try to take those two. So you can destructure it. So just I will try to do port 1 is equal to message channel dot port 1 constant, port 2 is equal to message channel dot port 2. Okay, now how you can send this message? So let's try to understand. So in order to send this message, port 1 dot post message. Okay, so now here port 2. So now here we are sending it to port 2. Port 2, let's say John. Okay, now here port 1, when it sends the message, automatically it will goes to the port 2. So now in order to listen to this one, so what you need to do, port 2 dot on message. Okay, on of message. Okay, so you can use anyway. So however you want it, you can use it. So port 1 we have created, post message we are sending it, and we are trying to say receive the data. So here we receive the message. So now here you can write console.log port 2 received the message. So what is the message? So you can do the message. Okay, so now let's try to see the output for this one. So now here let me clear it off, and here if you try to see port 2 dot port 1 dot post message. Okay, let's try to rerun it again. See now here port 2 received the message, port 2 John. So that means whenever you are trying to send the port 1, it receives the port 2. Now if you try to send it through the port 2, let's say that port 2 dot post message of, so to which one you are trying to send, port 1, let's say Joe. So the same thing you can copy it and you can paste it here, but this time you need to listen to the port 1. So that now port 1 received the message, that is nothing but Joe. Let's try to see. Here let's stop this one and run it. See here port 1 received the message, port 1 Joe, and port 2 received the message, port 2 Joe. So this is how actually the message, so it will be working on. Okay, so now how could be useful this one? So let's talk about how message channels help us communicating between any two threads. Imagine we have a main thread and two worker threads. So let's try to see about the scenario. So let's say that we have a main thread here. Okay, so I am having a main thread here. Okay, this one is the main thread, main, or otherwise you can write it here, main. So this one is the main thread, and here I will be having a worker 1. Let's say that I am having a worker 1, and we will be having another one, worker 2. Worker 2. So these are the two things which we are having. Okay, so now imagine we have, so like this, right? So we want them to talk each other. So main thread needs to work with the worker 1 and worker 2, and worker 1, worker 2 needs to talk with each other. So like this we need to. Here is the trick what you can do it. When you create a worker thread, you can pass one of the ports to it using the worker data property. So for example, let's say that here you will be creating the port 1 and port 2. Okay, so you have created a message channel. Message channel will have the port 1 and port 2, and you can send that port 2 to work as using the worker data. So to here port 2. Okay, now what will happen? So the main thread and the worker 1 can able to communicate to each other. In the same scenario, you can send the same another one, something like worker port 1 and worker port 2, like this to this one. So now main thread can communicate with this one and this one. And if you want to communicate between these two worker threads, means again you can create a message channel here, and port 1, port 2 will be shared to this one. So like this. So like this, you can share it. In the worker thread, you can access port 2 and listen for the messages. Now the main thread can send messages to the worker thread using port 1. The worker thread will receive these messages and log it, and it works the other way too. The worker can send messages back to the main thread using the port 2, like this. So now you can use the message channels so by connecting to the two worker threads also. Let's say we create another channel and pass one work on port to another worker thread 1 and the others to worker thread 2. Like this, these are all the things also you can able to see. So that's it guys. That is how message channels actually work in the JavaScript to help the threads talk to each other. Whether you are building a high performance app or just experimenting with the threads, this is a super powerful tool to have it in your toolbox. So if you found this helpful, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more coding tutorials like this. Drop a comment if you have any questions or you want to see more about worker threads and all those things. So by the time, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.